It's Wednesday on Toronto Sports Rush with EJ and Dan, and we are with one of the biggest Yankees fans out there as the Yankees come to grips with a Game 1 loss against the Boston Red Sox in a best 2 out of 3. EJ, your initial thoughts?
Uh, I mean, it was just another more of the same. More of the same. I guess, we come on here and I talk about the Leafs, and the Leafs fans have been through so much, right? I'm a Yankee fan. I mean, I was a Yankee fan as a kid. I'm still a Yankee fan. I don't really cover baseball, so I'm allowed to be a Yankee fan, I guess. And it is painful to watch the same things happen over and over and over and over. And I would say if I was a Leafs fan, like that must have been such relief when they fired Sheldon Keefe, because you kept seeing like terrible decision after terrible decision and things didn't work out and you need to make a change. And they did. Yet Aaron Boone, year in and year out, this decision after decision that doesn't really work out. And yet here we are. So we'll see what happens in game 2. But I'll tell you what, the Boston Red Sox they got a tiger by the tail, so to speak. And the Yankees, if they continue to, it's a different game in the postseason, and they don't know really how to win it.
For those that aren't following the Yankees and Red Sox, the Yankees had a 1-0 lead. Their pitcher was going pitch for pitch against the Red Sox ace. And then with that 1-0 lead, they decided to go to the bullpen, and that's when everything imploded. They ended up losing 3-1. So that was a questionable decision, although
Yes.
he was over 100 pitches. I can see that, but as any Yankee fan will point out, well, this is every one of these games is like a game 7. He can
Yeah.
stay out longer.
Yeah. I mean, for me, he had thrown over 102 pitches on eight occasions this year, and 2 out of the last 3 starts he had been over. Now, not a lot over, but he had been over. To your point, it's a 2 out of 3 series. I mean, this is kind of a winner go home scenario. I believe in the history of this wild card round, teams that lose the first game don't win the series. And you have a chance to beat Garrett Crochet, who is an excellent pitcher and pitched very well last night, but you had a lead in the game. You had scratched out a 1-0 lead. Sometimes you have to try to win 1-0. If Aaron Boone had, Jeff Nelson and Mariano Rivera and you name it from the Yankees of 20 years ago coming out of the bullpen, I could understand it. He had Luke Weaver, who has not pitched well all year. Their bullpen has really been kind of a disaster all year. They brought in Devin Williams. It hasn't worked out, so much so that he's now pitching the eighth. He's pitched better of late. He came in last night and had a scoreless eighth. But for me, the 8 and 9 hitter are coming up for the Red Sox. Why not stay with Fried? And now some will say, well, he had walked a couple guys. He had some stressful innings. Go through that game, Dan. You tell me where there was a hard hit ball against Fried in that game. I did not see it. I saw a single through the right side of the infield when the Yankees shifted, and then I saw a kind of a bloop hit over first base. There was not really hard hit balls. Even the outs were not hard hit. So for me, he's your ace. He's pitching well. He's at 102. You're facing the 8. You're facing the 9. If you have a guy that can come in and you're confident, bring him in. I don't know how you have any confidence in Luke Weaver or anyone really in that bullpen. So for me, it was pretty much I would have stayed with my ace, who's been their best pitcher all year.
And then you have the problem of there's only so many spots in a lineup and
Yeah.
only so many spots in the batting order. So you didn't even get to see Jazz Chisholm or Ben Rice. Ben Rice, who ended the season hitting 2 home runs in a game.
Yeah, Ben Rice has been a really good hitter. He's got, they measure everything now, right? So I think Ben Rice leads baseball in hardest hit balls all year long. Like he just really makes good contact. He's been a really good hitter. Unfortunately for Ben Rice, like they've had him as a catcher. He's not a great defensive catcher. That's a dangerous thing to have in playoff baseball, to have a guy behind the plate who's not a great catcher. He plays some first base. He's gotten better at that this year. I could see why maybe, there's only so many spots. The Jazz Chisholm thing is really interesting. Chisholm was hot after the game, and rightfully so, because he has not been a platoon guy. Like Rice has been in and out. Like Chisholm plays when he's healthy. He has started pretty much every game this year for the Yankees. Aaron Boone sends him a text the night before, at least according to Chisholm, And like to me, if you're going to make a move like that, I would think you'd want to tell the guy face to face. They did have a conversation apparently yesterday, but like the initial interaction was on text. So if that's true, that to me is, and that's what Chisholm said. That's very disappointing. I mean, I would think you'd want to tell a guy face to face, at least initially for sure. But when did Jose Caballero become Babe Ruth? I mean, like I get you wanted to get Rosario in the lineup. He's had good numbers against Crochet. You just put him at third base. And you leave Chisholm at second. And the other problem with having Caballero and Volpe in the lineup together to start the game, you really don't have a utility guy or a pinch runner. That's the beauty of Caballero, is that he can kind of play everywhere. And to have Volpe in, who played well last night after having, being kind of maligned most of the year, had a home run, had 2 hits, made some good plays in the field. Like, you didn't get a pinch run. So at the end of the game, if you wanted to pinch run for Goldschmidt on third base, now I know his run was not the key run there, but you would like to have at least a threat of somebody coming to be able to score there. So I thought it really limited them with their lineup choices last night. And this is what they do. They're a very analytically driven group, and Aaron Boone is willing to kind of just play along, and that's why he's still the manager. So we'll see what happens today. But it was, give the Red Sox a ton of credit and Alex Cora a lot of credit, because those guys, they showed, a team that hasn't even been in the playoffs for the last several years, showed they know how to do it.
And
The Reds.
we have a little bit of breaking news, guys.
Oh, yep.
So the game 1 game time has been set for Saturday. So if the Jays play the Yankees, they'll be playing at 4:00, and if they play the Red Sox, they'll be playing at 1:00. So that's game 1. The rest of the games they haven't released times for.
I called it before. I said the Jays will not be getting prime time. It doesn't matter who they play. I talked to our Jays insider, Keegan Matheson, this morning, and I said, who do the Jays want? And he said they won't say it publicly, but they want the Red Sox. And especially considering the Red Sox, they don't even have a starter for game 3 if this 3-game series goes to a game 3. So I'm like, yeah, I'd lean towards them as well.
Yeah, the only thing I would say about that is that if Crochet is going to pitch in that series, it's a 3 out of 5 series. So like he's better, I would say he's probably one of the very best in baseball, right? So he's a guy that's probably going to beat you. And we'll see what Bello does tonight, but it's a shorter series. Yeah, they'll be behind the 8 ball a little bit if they were to move on and play in that series, the Red Sox. But the Red Sox, they have speed on the bases. They have a really good bullpen. They got a couple of good starters. The Yankees just seem to beat themselves. I believe the Yankees have a lot of great talent within their group, but they just seem to beat themselves an awful lot. And their bullpen has been a disaster. When you get into the late innings of tight games in the playoffs, boy, I'm not that comfortable with anyone coming out of that Yankee pen. So we will see who the Jays get and how it impacts them. But I don't know if I'd be so anxious to get the Red Sox either.
Yeah, you got to go through one of them. So I think they've got that mentality.
Yeah.
The Jays doing something fun this week. They're doing inter squad games in which they're charging $10 a ticket so people can get a feel. And I'm like, more. But EJ, don't you think more teams should do this? Because 99% of the public can't afford a $500 upper level ticket. They want to be part of it. They want to feel. I remember going to watch the Jays on the Jumbotron when they were playing in the World Series, and we went. I think the tickets were free, and we watched it as a group on the Jumbotron just to be a part of it. So the Jays doing something unique this week as the team gets loose.
I like what you said, free. I like the part where you got to go for free. That was good. But I mean, I guess if you charge $10 these days, that's kind of a nominal fee, and at least you're able to.
I'm sure they got a donation. The Jays care or something.
Let's hope so. Let's hope so. But hey, listen, the teams are doing all kinds of different things now, and you know what? If fans want to go, that's an option for them. That's great.
Yeah. It's make it more accessible. That's all I ask. So Jays will play this weekend at either 1 or 4. Excited for playoff baseball, whoever it is. Hey, you got to go through the best. To be the best, you got to go through the best.
You got to beat the best.
That's true.
Dan, who do you want to play? You're a Jays guy. Who do you want to play? Would you rather play the Yankees or the Red Sox?
Uh, I am really scared of Aaron Judge, but Aaron Judge looked human in game 1 against the Red Sox. So I'm like, wow, pitchers can approach him and not be timid and just go right at him? That
Well,
was new to me.
he did have 2 hits in the game, and, the problem
Yeah,
with
but we
Judge right
always
now.
intentionally walk him or he hits a home run.
Well, I mean, the problem with Judge right now is he can't throw apparently in the outfield, or he's limited, and that was a big play in the game last night when the Red Sox, the hitter took second base on that ball that really was should have been a single, and give him full credit, got in there at second, but Judge couldn't really throw the ball. They're running on him. Put it this way, and I'm sure if the Yankees play the Jays will have the same approach when there's balls hit out there, anything that's questionable. I'm sure they'll try to take the extra base.
Yeah. Pierre McGuire, as we bring him in,
Here.
I bet you he's rooting for a Yankees Jays because there's just something about playing the Yankees that brings out the not the anger, but the passion in fans.
Gentlemen, good morning. And what I would tell you is, as a kid that grew up in Montreal, my favorite team were, until they got the Montreal Expos, the New York Yankees. And a big reason why was a guy named Mickey Mantle. So I was a huge fan of the Yankees. I remember my father, I think I was 7 or 8 years old, drove me from Montreal down to New York to go to Old Yankee Stadium to watch the Washington Senators against the New York Yankees on real bat day. They gave out real bats.
Yes.
And I got a Mickey Mantle bat. And what I remember the most of that game was the atmosphere, the smell of hot dogs, but Boog Powell, who played for the Washington Senators, and how big his body was. I could not believe there was a man that size in the world. He was mammoth, just gigantic.
Boog.
Pierre, did you go to any games at Jerry Park?
Oh my gosh, I used to go for 50 cents. My brothers and I had 2 brothers, Regan and Ryan. We'd go for 50 cents. We'd take the 92 bus along Jean Talon Avenue right to Jerry Park, and we saw everybody. The Big Red Machine, the LA Dodgers. I saw Bob Gibson pitch at Jerry Park. The Montreal Expos against the New York Mets, but back in those days was a big rivalry because of the Rusty Staub trade. All these different things was phenomenal, but we used to go and Bank of Montreal, give them a free promo on your show, Dan and EJ. They had a thing called the Young Expos Club. And if you put a savings account in it with them, they gave you a card and you could go to a game at Jerry Park for 50 cents. And so my brothers and I would go to a lot of games at Jerry Park for 50 cents a person. It was awesome.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Love that.
The Jays had their bank with CIBC, so that's why I always stayed with CIBC. They get you for life. It's true. You get them while they're young. You know who can afford a 50-cent ticket now? Not that he couldn't afford it before. Is Anthony Stolarz signing a cap-friendly deal with the Leafs at 3.7?
7.5, yep.
Yeah, 3.75. That's cap friendly, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. But you know what? EJ knows the neighborhood this kid comes from, Edison, New Jersey. He's a tough kid. He's a hardworking kid. He's proud to be in the National Hockey League. He's been kicked around a little bit. He started his college career at Nebraska Omaha, went to the London Knights. He's never really been in one place for a very long time. I'm so happy for a player nearing the end of his career rather than the start of his career to get this kind of security. And I'm thrilled to death that he appreciates Toronto and Toronto appreciates him. It's a great marriage. I'm so thrilled for the team. And all you had to do is listen to the players talk, EJ and Dan, and you knew the guys in Toronto were thrilled to death that he stayed there.
Yeah, it's the thing for Anthony was always going to be about the term, Pierre. I think we talked about it a couple weeks ago because, to your point, I mean, he's kind of had some injury issues. He's bounced around. He's been on shorter term contracts. I mean, I think if he wanted to roll the dice this year, if he stayed healthy, put up another numbers like he did the last 2 years, really, I mean, he could have been talking about maybe doubling that number. But he has had injuries. There's no guarantees of anything. He ends up taking the 4 years. And, you got to give Brad Treliving and company a lot of credit. I mean, he's got him at 4 years times 3.75. Wall is signed. So, I mean, their goaltending is locked up at a reasonable number for a couple of years now. And you go back to the John Tavares deal, they were able to keep him on 4 years, 4.39. I mean, those are two really great team-friendly deals that will allow for the Leafs to maybe add pieces along the way.
They will. And now where it gets tricky, and what a great point you just made, EJ, about adding pieces. You have to wonder around the league, and I've talked to enough people over the last 24 hours, what's the residual impact of Kirill Kaprizov's contract? And I'll just give you a case in point. It's not Toronto-centric because, Austin Matthews still has 2 years left on his deal at a little over 13 million, close to 14 million. Here's where the point comes up on that, because I know general managers are all looking at it today going, how are we going to do this? If you're Kevin Cheveldayoff in Winnipeg and you've got Kyle Connor's contract up, and if you look at his numbers since 2017, 2018, Dan and EJ, since he came into the league, he's only had 1 year where he never scored over 30 goals. This is over 600 games. He's almost got a point a game in the league. How much money do you think he's going to want?
Yeah.
And then, so if you do the math, and I'll just do it for you, you go Mark Scheifele, you do Josh Morrissey, you do Connor Hellebuck, and let's say you add Kyle Connor at 14 million. Let's just say it's 14 million, because that's about where it's going to be, maybe a little higher. You're at almost $50 million Canadian for those players in a building that seats 14,000 people. How are you going to make that work?
Yeah. Have a very wealthy owner, like they do have.
They do. But this is my point, though.
Yeah.
There's going to be a whiplash effect. Some contracts affect the league. Others don't affect it as much. This one will. This one will have a big effect because a lot of guys are coming up. Like if you're in Vegas right now, you're saying, how much is Jack Eichel going to get?
Yeah.
And all these players that have contracts coming up, Kaprizov and his agent, they became the most popular or most liked guys in the NHL because they're like, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
Agreed, 100%. Paul Theophanis is the agent. I couldn't agree with you more. And, Paul's been at it a long time. So, no, I get it. I totally get it. I don't blame them at all. But I'm just telling you, the real part of this thing is it's not going to be easy for people to digest.
Yeah.
And now we see, okay, I'll use an example. Noah Dobson, just to show you how it spirals.
Yeah.
Noah Dobson signs in Montreal at over $9 million. And then Luke Hughes, who, is a very good player, obviously, and a pedigree player. He's now at $9 million on a 7-year deal. So he gets to free agency earlier. How much do you think Lane Hudson's going to get?
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. It's always about the comparables, right?
It's comparable. That's what it is.
It's, I will say this in the Kaprizov deal. I think there were some unique forces at work here. I mean, first of all, he is probably the best player the Minnesota Wild have ever had. Now, Marian Gaborik was a great player for the Wild, but I think we could agree that Kaprizov is probably a more impactful player even than Gaborik.
I would agree.
Right? So they don't want to lose the franchise icon right now and the best player they've ever had. So that works. They had the whole thing where they went through the pain, right, guys, of we're going to buy out Suter and Parisi. We're going to be on a shorter budget. So the fans lived through that. I just think there was a lot of market pressure in Minnesota. I don't know if it helped their cause that the owner was out there publicly negotiating against himself, saying that, nobody's going to pay more than we're going to pay. But, I mean, I just think there was a lot of forces at work, and Minnesota had signed a bunch of their other guys already. So I don't know if that, I just think that was such a unique circumstance that he was able to get to 17 million. I'll be curious to see what it does mean as you bring up Eichel and certainly McDavid, because in the case of, McDavid in particular, with Draisaitl already at a high number, with Bouchard at a high number, I mean, where is Connor going to come in? Because logically, he should be the highest paid player in the league. But if he takes that much money, even on a shorter term deal, it does limit what the team can do.
Mm-hmm.
Younger guys are going to be the beneficiary. Before I came on, I was talking to our excellent production staff, and I was telling them the guys that are going to benefit from this are the bottom 6 forward and the bottom 2 pairings for NHL teams. Now, it's not going to be every team, but there are going to be some teams that are going to be forced to bring younger players who are cheaper labor into the league earlier because they're not going to have the cap space. And just so everybody understands at home, there are 32 teams in the league. I know everybody knows that 16 of the 32 are $4 million or more under the cap right now. 16 of half the league
Yeah.
are $4 million or more below the cap. And that's not because they're doing it because they're being told to. They're doing it because ownership understands because the cap is high, doesn't mean I have to spend to it.
Yeah.
And I'm just telling you, it's going to be something to monitor as we go forward here. It really
Yeah,
is.
I will say just quick one thing, guys, about the salary cap, and this is as it's gone now up exponentially over these last since it started really 20 years ago. I always wondered. I mean, Pierre, you would remember, Dan, you would remember, like years ago, teams could be bad for like $10 million. They would just bottom out. They would sell. I think the Penguins one year had a team like 8 or 9 million. The total payroll. And you could be bad and rebuild, and not now, even to be bad in the National Hockey League, you got to pay like 75, 80 million, maybe more based on where the cap is over the next couple of years. I mean, that's probably a little bit of a hard pill to swallow for teams that are struggling, that don't have those high-end players. And that's why you end up overpaying some players just to be part of your team because you have to hit the floor. I'd be more worried about the floor than the ceiling for some of these franchises.
Because if they don't get to the floor, to EJ's point, Dan, and it's a great point, is that you don't share in revenues. And then you got a problem. Then you got a problem.
Hey, Pierre, Edmonton Oilers message boards were read by Edmonton Oilers executives. And my guy, Connor Ingram, lands with the Oilers as he's going to be reporting to their farm team. So the Oilers landed the Utah Mammoths cast-off in Connor Ingram.
Yeah, but I think that's great.
It's great. Yes.
It's a great opportunity. Jeff Jackson knows the Ontario Hockey League as well or better than anybody. He's obviously the president of hockey operations there in Edmonton. Stan Bowman, when he wasn't working, was evaluating a lot of players in the league, both in the NHL and other leagues, American League. So they know how good Connor Ingram is. They know that he's got a chance to play. And I agree with Dan, you and I talked about it. Connor Ingram's a good player. And he's just got to get straightened out, and I think he's well on his way to doing that. So that's a good, subtle pickup. I completely agree with you, 100%. Just like I will say this because we're on Toronto feed right now, I think getting James Reimer is a good pickup.
Yeah.
I do, to a PTO, because he's popular with his teammates. They understand he's going to do whatever it takes to help create a role for himself. He's not going to be a high-maintenance guy. He's not going to complain about, did I play, didn't I play? Those are subtly two really good pickups, Connor Ingram and obviously James Reimer.
Pierre, it's funny you mentioned that about Reimer. I was in Buffalo, or I was in Czech last year to start the season doing the Sabres and Devils, and the Sabres had 3 goalies at that time, and then eventually I believe Reimer went on waivers, and I think it was Anaheim that picked him up. I'm not remembering that 100%, but the bottom line was I was around Reimer. You nailed it. He's kind of a happy guy. He's always smiling. I'm out there for practice. I'm helping my teammates. If I play, it's a great opportunity. If I don't play, I understand my role. I think those guys are invaluable. And at that position, let's face it, Joseph Wall has had some injury issues and some challenges. Stolarz has had some injury issues. I mean, I love both those guys. I think they're really good goalies, but I would love I think it's great having a guy like Reimer there just kind of like behind glass, just in case emergency, you can throw him in there because I'm not sold on Hill to be coming in and playing for any long stretch. So for me, I agree with you. I think that's a great pickup, and I think it's because of his personality, his familiarity in the market, and his willingness to play a role. I think that was a really smart acquisition.
Bingo, bango, bongo. So I'll just add one more thing, Dano. This is important to build off EJ's point. 2 of the best guys I ever saw do that role that he's talking about, Jacques Cloutier, who was phenomenal as a backup goalie, and one we had in Pittsburgh when I was coaching there, Wendell Young. Wendell was amazing. I'm telling you, Wendell was off the charts good. He was like an extension of our coaching staff. Those guys are invaluable. Yeah. Like they are priceless in terms of what they provide over the course of an 82-game schedule.
Hey, Pierre, you'll sign off with us on this show, but not before we play 1 degree of Pierre McGuire as I point to a card and you tell me your connection. I don't think we've ever gone up here. I this is a softball. Mark Lamb.
Mark Lamb is coaching in the Western Hockey League right now. I coached against Mark when he was in Edmonton and also when he was in Ottawa. I just had him on my podcast not that long ago.
Of course he did.
Mark Lamb is an amazing. He was a tough-nosed cowboy rodeo guy that made an amazing living playing on great teams in Edmonton. And I always loved being around Mark because he's such a passionate hockey guy, and he's doing a great job coaching the Western Hockey League.
Pierre, you're still batting 1,000. I don't think that
Yeah.
streak will ever end.
Well, I don't know. At some point, I think it will, or I'll end, one or the other.
Well, actually, I'm going to give you this one because so there's this one here. You probably will know him because this is a card. I think it's from the Q. And his name is Louis Bernard.
You got me.
I had to look him up, and he was a
got me.
fourth round pick of the Canadians, and he played in the AHL and ECHL and IHL for like 15 years. Louis Bernard.
You got me.
Yeah, you should have made something up. We would have believed you.
No, but that one doesn't count. That
Louis,
doesn't
I
count.
knew him very well.
Because this isn't even a real. I don't even know where this came from. It's like someone made it in their basement.
That's good.
I think Louis Bernard snuck into your basement and just taped that in there.
Louis Bernard hung up the Louis Bernard card. Okay,
well, it's a
gentlemen.
Great time of the year, man. Enjoy it, and enjoy the baseball, the football, and the CFL. Getting close now, Dan. The CFL, lots of stuff happening in the CFL, and
I don't know what that league is. Pierre, thanks for coming, buddy. See you, EJ.
guys, take care. Bye, EJC.